With that, let's get started. So, so today, what we'll be talking about is a simple way to remove bias from AI models using low code. And the agenda for today is going to be AI versus ML and deep learning. I will give an introduction to all those three, and then we'll dig a little deeper into AI, how AI is changing the world, and the AI use cases, how you can adopt responsible AI, and then building trusted AI pipeline. We'll then talk about how the different areas that tackle bias in AI, and then how we can create the AI pipeline, and after that, I will give a demo of our sorry for that. I'll give a demo of the hands-on session where you can follow along, and that's the code that Naomi has mentioned in the chat to register to IBM Cloud account for free. Now let's get started. So, what is the difference between these buzzwords that we keep hearing these days, such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning? So basically, in brief, AI tries to make computers intelligent in order to mimic the cognitive functions of humans. So artificial intelligence is a general field with a broad scope of that includes computer vision, language processing, creativity, and summarization. Machine learning is a branch of AI that covers the statistical part of artificial intelligence, and it teaches the computers to solve problems by looking at hundreds or thousands of examples, learning from them, and then using that experience to solve the same problem in new situations. And deep learning is a very special field of machine learning that makes intelligent decisions of machine learning, where computers can actually learn and make intelligent decisions on their own. And deep learning involves a deeper level of automation in comparison with most machine learning algorithms. Now let's dig a little deeper into artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is about teaching the machines to learn and act and think as humans would. Now, another dimension is really about how we get the machines to impart most of the cognitive and sensory capabilities of humans. So, it's about analyzing images and videos, about natural language processing and understanding speech. It's about pattern recognition and so on and so forth. Now, the capabilities of artificial intelligence are not hidden. The intelligence of machines is undergoing a major transformation by continuous self learning improvement. However, these AI models are still a black box, and their decisions are often questioned by the clients. Are often questioned by the clients. So the research is undergoing a major is moving faster than ever on improving and optimizing the algorithms, but this alone won't suffice. So the conversations around building trust in AI are often a point of interest for developers, for sales and marketing teams who work directly with clients. Therefore, it is important to look into it. Now, the applications of AI algorithms in domains such as criminal justice, credit, scoring, hiring holds unlimited promise. At the same time, it raises legitimate concerns about algorithmic fairness. And AI systems are deciding everything from which resume to consider, to who gets a mortgage loan, who gets insurance claims accepted, and even to who receives a payroll. Now, here are some examples of bias that in AI that surfaced over the few years. Apple created a credit card, and they ran into major issues because users noticed that it seemed to offer smaller lines of credit to women than men. And Amazon created a hiring tool that was discriminating against women. Now, we need to guard against the misapplication of race, gender, religion, or other characteristics in the decisions that AI systems are making. And it's often a question about legality, but it's also a question about basic fairness. So why is it important that we adopt responsible AI? Now there are different ways you can do that, and some of the ways that you can do that are as follows. You can have a diverse team. Organizations with diverse team tend to do better with ensuring diverse representation in their data and AI pipeline and avoiding bias. You can have uh, adopt and imbibing like basically imbibe a culture of accountability. Teams must ensure there are ethics AI practitioners on their AI team for to ensure that the five focal points are covered. Then we have, you can use the framework that works for your team and covers the five focal points of accountability. You can make use of design thinking with the end user in mind, understanding the needs and pain points and designing what is usable for the users. Next, you can make use of open source and commercial tools to address fairness and explainability. We will be using AI Fairness 360 today, which is an open source library. And so all these can help us adopt responsible AI, because if we are not responsible, then let's take an example of self-driving cars. There is a lot of ethical questions that are emerging that people are worried about. For example, if the car has to decide between which accident to cause, if it has to pick between running into a sign and hurting the passengers in the vehicle, or running into pedestrians on the side of the road but potentially saving the passengers. So how do we make those decisions? It's really interesting area with a lot of open questions here, and it's unclear how we can properly define regulations so that all the companies that are producing these vehicles all behave in a consistent ethical manner that meets our expectations. Now imagine owning a computer vision company that builds AI classification models for people in the healthcare industry to diagnose cancer using MRI, CT scans, and X-rays. It can be difficult for a doctor to rely on the diagnosis suggested by an AI model when a person's life is involved. Therefore, building trusted AI pipelines and a pipeline that can explain itself has become is increasingly important with AI applications. So, how do we build trusted AI pipelines? We need to take into consideration robustness, fairness, and explainability. So, robustness measures the stability of the algorithm performance when a model that is deployed in the real world is attacked and noise is introduced in the training data. It characterizes how effective your algorithm is while being tested on the new independent but similar data set. This ensures that algorithm of the model is able to handle the unseen previewed data. It addresses the questions of estimating uncertainties in its predictions, whether the model is robust. So, ART is a library that is dedicated to adversarial machine learning. Its purpose is to allow rapid crafting and analysis of attack, defense, and detection methods for machine learning models. Now, the domains include, but they're not just limited to these. So, they include finance and self-driving vehicles, and next we have is fairness, AI fairness. So fairness is unfair biases can exist in the data used to train the model as well as the model's own decision making algorithm. And fairness emphasizes the identification and tackling of such biases that are introduced in the data. This ensures that the model's predictions are fair and do not unethically discriminate anyone. Now, AIF 360 is an open source library that we will be using today. It helps to detect and remove bias in machine learning models, and it translates algorithmic research from the lab into practice. And again, the applicable domains are as follows, but not limited to these: finance, human capital, management, healthcare, and education. AI Fairness 360 is a Python package that includes a comprehensive set of metrics of data sets and models to test for biases, explanations of these metrics, and algorithms to mitigate bias. Next, we have explainability. So, explainability shows how machine learning models makes its predictions. It gives an improved understanding of the model by clarifying how the model works. It is essential to data scientists for detecting, avoiding, and removing its failure nodes to SMEs and customers for earning their public trust and in the algorithm, and for introducing effective policies to regulate the technology. Now again, AIX 360 is an open source library to help explain AI machine learning models and their predictions. It's again a Python package that includes a comprehensive set of explainers, but at global and local level. So they have local post hoc, global post hoc, directly interpretable. Now, and so this is what we, and over here we have AI 360 fact sheet. Now, the fact sheet is basically, you can think of it like a food label, a label at the back of the food product, which helps you understand what goes into the making and how much of it is put in and what do you get in the end, right? So I will be posting these links at the end of the session in the chat. If you're interested to read more about them, you can do so. Now, artificial intelligence is becoming a crucial component of enterprises, operations, and strategy. And accordingly, there is a growing need for fairness, accountability, transparency from machine learning systems. And we need to remember that training data isn't the only source of possible bias. It can also be introduced through inappropriate data handling, inappropriate model selection, or incorrect algorithm design. Bias can also affect usage data. So, what we need is a comprehensive bias pipeline, and that will fully integrate into the AI lifecycle. And such a pipeline requires a robust set of checkers and debiasing algorithms and bias explanations. So, this is to give our clients the confidence they need to responsibly take advantage of AI. And today, we must figure out ways to instill transparency, explainability, fairness, robustness into AI. And these are the 5 ethical focal areas that we should be focusing on. The first one is accountability. So, human judgment plays a role throughout a seemingly objective system of logical decisions. It is humans who write algorithms, who define success or failure, who make decisions about the uses of systems, and who may be affected by the system's outcome. So every person involved in the creation of AI at any step is accountable for considering the system's impact in the world, and as so are the companies that are invested in its development. Next is value alignment. AI works alongside diverse human interests. People make decisions based on any number of contextual factors, including their experiences, memories, upbringing, and cultural norms. And these factors allow us to have a fundamental understanding of what's right and wrong in a wide range of contexts, whether it's at home or at office or anywhere else. So, this has become second nature for humans. And as we have a wealth of experiences to draw upon, so today's AI systems do not have these types of experiences to draw upon. So it is the job of the designers with each other, designers and developers, to basically collaborate with each other to ensure consideration of existing values Care is required to ensure sensitivity to a wide range of culture norms and values, and this is exactly where playing as a team and having a diverse team comes into play. So explainability in general, we don't trust those who can't explain their reasoning. And the same goes for AI, perhaps even more so as the AI increases in capabilities and achieves a greater range of impact. Its decision making process should be explainable in terms people can understand. So explainability is key for user interacting with the AI to understand the AI's conclusions and recommendations. Your users should always be aware that they're interacting with an AI, because a good design does not sacrifice transparency in creating a seamless experience. Now, fairness is AI providers deeper insight into our personal lives when interacting with our sensitive data. As humans are because humans are inherently vulnerable to biases and are responsible for building AI, there are chances that human bias uh, may be embedded into the system that we are creating. So it is the role of the responsible team to minimize algorithm bias through ongoing research and data collection which is representative of a diverse population again. Lastly, we have user data right. So, user data rights, AI must be designed to protect user data and preserve the user's power over access and users. So, it is the team's responsibility to keep users empowered with control over their interactions. The percentage of people who feel that having control of their information is very important, and that it is unacceptable for companies to use the user information without permission, this number is going to increase as AI is further used to either amplify or our privacy or undermine it. So your company should be fully compliant with the applicable portions of EU GDPR, which is General Data Protection Regulation, or any other comparable regulations in other countries, to make sure that users understand that AI is working in their best interest. Designers and developers of AI can help mitigate bias and disenfranchisement by practicing these five areas of ethical consideration. Now, I've been talking about AI pipeline, and we need to create a trusted AI pipeline. But how does the AI pipeline actually work? Now, our portfolio has four key pillars that can be mixed and matched with other solutions in the market depending on your need. Our, on the governing and the organizing side, we have Watson Knowledge Catalog. Now, it catalogs all your data into one place so you understand your data and know where it is. It also helps understand who is accessing the data and control permissions. Now, the next three stages come under Watson Studio. And Watson Studio is a one data science platform where you can bring in your data into the platform, process it, build models, deploy them, do all kinds of visualizations, and then report that data to a dashboard or to a management or to different users. And that's all done within Watson Studio. So on the uh, build phase is basically it's wanting to look into your data, prep it, and build some models or dashboards that can give you predictive insights into your data. And this is where data exploration comes in. Now, once you have your model built, the next step is to deploy those models into production and to use the output or predictions to influence business decisions. And we make it very easy to move your models from development to production with machine learning. And so now you have the governance, you've built your model, you've deployed it, and now you're getting the predictions from for whom you should give a loan or to who you should market the product to. But naturally, the next question is, do you trust the output of the model? Do you trust its decision? How do you make sure the model isn't biased by the person who built it? And that's exactly where model explainability comes in. So uh, model explainability comes in. So this helps clients understand how the model is making decisions. So the logic can be traced, and you can see what features of the model is giving you predictions of. You can retrain your model based on the key metrics that you specify. So stepping back, you can see that these solutions fulfill the whole end to end AI journey. It is very easy to deploy and manage and monitor your models, which goes back to the team support strategy. And all these things work together very seamlessly. You can pick specific pieces, or you can bring them together to complete your data science and AI journey. Now, with that, we can move into the demo session. And I hope everyone has already signed up to IBM Cloud account. If you already have IBM Cloud accounts previously, you can use the same. Just request that please use the link that is provided, that is http://ibm.biz/wwcai ethics, to sign in to your existing IBM Cloud accounts and create the resources. Now, for today's use case, it's about how do you remove bias from machine learning model and ensure that predictions are fair. What are the three stages in which the bias mitigation solutions can be applied? So in this, we will be talking about how can you can make informed decisions by consuming the results of the predictive models. So we will use a fraud prediction dataset to demonstrate how the accuracy of AI models is impacted by the bias in the dataset, and how this toolkit helps to how this toolkit will help you remove bias to ensure that the decision making is not impacted. So this approach of building AI models without bias has wider applicability for developers who can, and you can use it can be used to solve many use cases under different domains. So you can use the same concept and apply it to different domains. Now on the right hand side of this, you will see an image. So this is what our output is going to look something like. So this has been taken from the German credit scoring. So over here you can see how we have the sex, and then it says privileged and unprivileged, age and unprivileged, right? So you can see different metrics over here that are playing a role in giving something privileged and discriminating against the other. So this is what we're going to look into. Now just give me a minute so I can uh, show you the GitHub repository that we have. Okay, so over here we have a GitHub repository. One second, let me just maximize it for everyone to look at. All right. Okay. So over here, this is the GitHub repository. Let me copy paste this link and send it in the chat. I think Naomi has already mentioned, yes, she's already given it in the chat. So you can use that GitHub repository and come up to this page over here. And in the if you go in the README, you will find all of the step-by-step guidelines that you need for today's workshop. In case anybody misses a step or something, you can always go back to this repository and see how you can how you can follow along with me. Because we are obviously short on time and we have a specific time that we need to complete this on, I might not be able to repeat the steps again and again. But please feel free to post them in the chat. I can answer your questions at any point that you have. So if you click on this link over here, oh, one sec. Okay, one second. Just give me a minute. So I'm just going to open it in a new tab. So if you click on the link that I have provided, it will take you up to this registration page. and you will be needing to enter a few information. Just Okay. So here you have the page, and you'll need to enter some information right here. And once you have done that, you can verify and it'll redirect you to the login page. Now, if you already have an IBM Cloud account that previously created, just use this link and it will bring you to this page. But all you need to do is just click on login over here, and it will redirect you to the login page, and you can log in through this link. Okay, so let me just enter my, yeah, there, and continue. Just put a yes in the chat if everybody is logged in. And we also have a Slido on the chat over there. On top in the chat panel, you will see the last tab is Slido. You can also answer some of the poll questions there. Uh, okay. Oh, 1 second. Hmm. Okay. One second. That's weird. Um. Okay. Anyways, I don't know what's happening. Let me just refresh the page and see if it works. All right. So once you log into IBM Cloud account, you will end up on a dashboard. And on that dashboard, you can find a lot of information. You will find some links that you can get started with. You will also find, if you have existing applications created, you will also find those applications created. I think I'm facing issues with internet, so it's not loading up properly. So you will find your resources. You can search for resources. You can create resources. Okay. Yeah, definitely issues with the internet. Just give me a minute until this loads up. Till then, I can explain the GitHub repository that we have. So you will find, okay, let's talk about how does the fairness algorithm work. So you start with pre-processing, and in the pre-processing, you put in you create your notebook, you have your data sets uploaded, you have your credentials entered, and then you move to training data. Now, in the training data, you train your model, and then you build the model, you test the model, you deploy it, and get feedback. But when you have AI Fairness 360 included into your model, okay. So once you have this AI Fairness 360 included into your model, at different points of the notebooks, you include data bias checking and bias mitigation. So at different points, you will have these checks to make sure that your data is not biased and there's no attributes that are discriminating against any other person. And this is the architecture diagram that we will be using today. So anybody who is a data scientist, developer, or stakeholder can work with Watson Studio. We will be creating object storage, and in Watson Studio we will create our notebooks and everything. In the notebooks we will have AI Fairness 360 installed, which will help us uh, uh, remove bias from our notebooks and from our data set. Now once you load up to the dashboard, search for object storage. So you can search for object storage. And if you see in the catalog results, you will find object storage service over here. Click on that. Now I already have one created, so I will be using the same. So with this link that we are providing you, you will get free account, and in that you can create light services. If you already have any of these services created, you can use those. Just use the link to sign up to IBM Cloud account or sign in, and you can only have one light plan instance in different services created on your account. So as you can see, I have one created. This will not let me this will not allow me to create another one. Make sure you have the light plan selected, give your object storage a name over here, and click on create. Okay, so once you click on create, it will start the creation process of your services. Then again, in the search resources and offerings, search for Watson Studio. So search for Watson Studio. That's the second service that we will be creating today. And in the catalog research, you will find Watson Studio. So click on that. Now, like I said, Watson Studio is your one-stop platform for all your data science needs that you need. In this, you will have to select a location. I generally prefer the Dallas region. That works very well for me. If you like that, you can go ahead and choose the Dallas region. So we're on the same page. And in the plan, make sure you select the light plan. And in configuration of your resources, you can give your service a name, or you can leave it as it is and just check the checkbox which says I have read and agreed, and click on create. Yeah, I my internet is really acting up today. I'm so sorry about this. Um, so in the location region over here, you can click on the drop down list, and you will find in North America, you will find Dallas. So just click on that and select that region. Make sure you have the light plan selected and click on give your service a name, and you can then click on create. So once you click on create, it will start creating Watson Studio instance for you. Now I already have one. If you have any questions, if you're having difficulty catching up, please let me know. I can repeat some of the steps, or you can always go back to the GitHub repository and see the steps that need to be taken. Okay, so once you click on create, you will actually come up to this page over here where it says launch in IBM Cloud Pack for data. So click on that. So once you click on that, it's going to take you to a new page, and Yeah, it's really weird how everything is acting up right now, and I tested it around 5 and everything was fine. But you never know what happens during when you have to present a conference. Something has to go. Uh, okay, so this is the page that you will land up onto when you when you say launch an item cloud pack for data. And on this page, you will have an overview of your resources. Like I said, this is your one-stop platform for your data science needs. It has all your projects, it has all your notifications, your deployments, all the projects that you have deployed, any data sets that you have in the project, all of them are stored here. And over here, you can see you can learn from examples or you can create different services. So today we will be creating a project. So in here, work with data. Under that, you have a link that says create a project. Click on that. So in the next page, click on create a project. So make sure you're clicking on create an empty project. And you will need to give your project a name. So you can, so I'll just call it remove bias. All right. And so over here you will see basically a bar which says which will have a drop down list. Click on the drop down list and you will find the object storage that we created initially. So click on that object storage and then you'll have to just click on the refresh, and that object storage will be associated with your project. So once you land into IBM Cloud Pack for data, you will click on create a new project. On the next page, you will create an empty project. You will land up onto this page. Over here, give your project a name. And here in the drop down menu, you will click on that. You will find the instance that we created earlier and click on that instance name. Then just refresh it, and there's a button that will say refresh or something, so or associate. So one of the two. So just click on that, and your cloud object storage should be associated with your project. Now, next we're going to click on create. You can give a description to your project if you like. You can add different things to this. Okay. So now in the GitHub repository that I have provided to you, you can download this GitHub repository and use it, because this has the data set and the notebooks that we are using today. So you can just click on the code over here and download the zip or clone the repository. That's really up to you. We will be needing the data set. So once you have that done, you will go to the assets tab. Now assets has all your assets, your data sets that you have, uh, your data sets, your notebooks, your models that you create, and anything. So you can go to this assets page, and over here you can see it says drop files or browse here. So I have the files. One second. Yeah. So if I click on browse files, okay. So in the let me just quickly go to that. One sec, something happened. So you have the fraud data set and the pipeline encoder over here. Click on both of them and click on open. So both of the fraud data set and the pipeline encoder should be uploaded to your assets page, assets over here. And so next, what we will do is if you click on add to project, you can click on add to project over here. And you will see how you can add different data, connections, notebooks, dashboards, auto AI experiments. So today we'll be working with notebook. So click on notebook. And over here, well, you can either create a blank notebook or from a file or from a URL. So today we'll be using from a URL. Basically, we have to upload 3 notebooks. So I will show you how to upload one, and the same process is applied to all 3 of them. And the links to the notebooks are provided over here. So if you see, you have a table of content over here, how you can add data, and then how you can create notebooks. So if you click, you will over here, right? So you can see right here, the first notebook that we have to create is the pre-processing notebook. So I'm just going to copy that into my name over here. Oh, sorry. So in the click on from URL, and then over here, write pre-processing, and then from the GitHub repository, you can find the link that we are using. So this is the link that we will be using today over here. And again, in the notebooks folder of the repository, you can find all 3 notebooks. So you can download them and then upload them as well if you want, and then work with them. So if you click on create, they should start creating the notebooks that we have. Now, here we learned about pillars of trustworthy AI, and but we need to test them as well. So the pillars of trustworthy AI have mitigation approaches grouped into the same 3 categories. The first category contains the pre-processing method that improve the statistics of the training data set. The second category constrains the training of the AI in favorable ways, and the third category post processes the predictions produced by AI. So mitigation methods are full-fledged AI algorithms themselves, and the main goal of these algorithms is to adapt the data to much better match the desired world and to make the AI model perform as best as it can, even in the worst case scenario. So it's loading. Now, in the similar way, you will have to create your in-processing and post-processing notebooks as well. And over here, there are a few things that you will need to add before you actually run the notebook. So I will show you, and it's the same in all 3 of them. So I will show you how to do that in one. So over here, you can see the notebook is not trusted. So just click on not trusted and trust the notebook. Okay, and this will reload, and then I will show you how you can add the credentials for your pipeline encoder, and then how you can add the pandas data frame for the data set. So here, just click on this sign right here, 0100 sign, which says find and add data. Now in this, you see this insert to code. So just click over here in the first cell for the pipeline encoder. Click on that, and you will see it has 2 options: streaming body object and credentials. We need to add credentials over here, so add credentials, and just remove this credentials underscore one, these for this thing over here, and keep credentials. Remove the extra bracket that we have, and that's it. Then so now what's happening is I'll show you how to run the notebook as well. Let me just show you the second thing that we have to add, which is the pandas data frame. So now over here, we've added the credentials for our pipeline encoder, and we're just adding those two different the we're giving them different names over here. We're importing a few files. We're installing the pip encoder because pipeline encoder because it's a zip file. Then we install the AI Fairness 360. Now, if you're interested to read more about it, you can read through the fact sheet. I will post the link, as well as you can go to the page itself and read more about it. Then we're looking at different imports as TensorFlow, and then we're looking at the version of TensorFlow. Then we, if it doesn't match, then we install the TensorFlow version that we need. Here, more imports from Pandas and AI Fairness 360. Now, the second thing is you have to insert the data as a pandas data frame, and over here, that is done over here. So just select this cell, okay, and I'm going to remove it all. And in the fraud dataset.csv, click on insert to code. The first thing it says is pandas data frame. So click on pandas data frame and you add it. Now over here you can see df underscore data underscore 1. You just have to change this to df. That's it. So you have to remove the underscore data underscore 1. Okay. So basically it has to be the same as this df, so that the whole notebook runs very smoothly and causes you no issues. Now you can either run the notebook one cell at a time. So either you can run this one cell at a time. You can see you get the numbers 1, and the ones that have not been the cells that we haven't run right now, they are empty. So you can run one by one, or you can click on cell. The on top you will see the tab that says cell, and it's there's an option that says run all, or it's run all above or run below. So that's really up to you what you want to do. I'll just click on run below since I ran the first cell, and you can see the ones that are in the process of running, they have an asterisk sign next to them, so that means they are in the process of running. Okay, so and once it finishes running, it changes it to a number. So now I already have the files running. So I will, the one that I already ran previously. So I'm just going to stop. Okay. So let me now explain what really is happening over here. So this is the notebook with outputs that I ran previously. So now we added the data spawner frame over here, and then we're looking at a few of the initial, some of the initial data set over here. Then we have this describe function, which basically gives you a summary of what is in your data set. Now you might see a few nan because it says include all, and that includes strings as well. So you cannot get a mean, standard deviation, or minimum for those cells. So that's the reason it gives you this outcome. If it was all just numerical, it will actually give you a numerical output in this field. So we're just labeling the information in this notebook. This is what we are doing. We are just basically doing the pre-processing things over here. We're cleaning up the notebook. We are normalizing the notebook. We're mapping the data over here, and then we're shaping the data and all of that stuff. So now this towards the end, okay, so now towards the end over here, you can see the difference in outcome between privileged is 37%. Okay, so this is without the debiasing. And so over here, the difference in outcome is 37%. Whereas when you apply the biasing, the difference becomes almost zero. So after we run all the cells in the notebooks, the results are displayed at the end of the notebook. And so over here, we can observe, right? So this is 37. So more chances of getting a favorable outcome because there's bias in the data set. But once you have the debiasing involved in the after the pre-processing, we can observe that applying bias mitigation algorithms, there is no unfair advantage between the privileged or the unprivileged groups. So now, the next thing what you do is when you have the in processing, right? So in the in processing, the same thing is happening. We are almost towards the end of the session, so I will just talk about the results over here. So over here, you can see without debiasing in equal opportunity difference, we have 13%. And then when we apply the debiasing algorithm, we have equal opportunity of 6%. So that's a huge gap between this and this. So it has reduced from 13% to 6%. The second thing you notice is the average odds difference in the one that is without the debiasing is 10%, and the average odd difference without with the debiasing is 3%, is 0.3%, right? So that's a lot of difference over here as well. And then with the post processing, you will let me close this one also. So the same thing over here with the graphs, you can see the same the thing that I just explained. So we can observe that when you're applying different debiasing algorithms, how it differs from uh, how the data differs and how the bias is removed, how people had unfair advantage before, and after that there's no unfair advantage to anyone, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Now let me move back to the presentation, and one second. I hope you can see my presentation. Yeah. So okay. So let me just quickly go over the summary. So we talked about artificial intelligence and how it refers to the ability of computers to commonly associate tasks that are associated with human beings. And the focus areas that we talked about were robustness, fairness, explainability, data privacy, transparency. Good AI does not hide from the users that they're interacting with an AI. Then we talked about the five focus areas of tackling bias in AI: accountability, value alignment, explainability, fairness, user data rights. Because the number of people who think that their data is very important to them is going to increase as AI takes over. And how can we adopt responsible AI? Looked into the AI pipeline. Everyone in the making of the building of AI systems is responsible, and they need to take their accountability to that. And ethics is a new muscle that we all need to develop, because over time, as AI takes over, we need to have some rules and regulations put together to help us improve. And here are some useful links. I will post them in the chat. If you need them, you can use them. If you're interested in any of our developer series that you would like to attend, you can attend them through the different links posted here. And with that, thank you, everyone. It's just a short survey that I would highly appreciate if you could take it and give your feedback to us. I'll post that link in the chat as well. And if there are any questions that you have, you can reach out to me on either my LinkedIn profile or an email, and I can set up a call with you to help you out, or I can answer you through email. So with that, I think that's it. Over to you, Naomi.
Yeah, thank you so much. We do have one question in the chat just about if the slides themselves will be available to view later. Is it best to reach out to you through your email or your LinkedIn? We have a data science Slack. Folks can connect through Hopin, but I don't know if you'll stick around. What do you think?
So I can actually just everyone can save the link to the GitHub repository, and I will update the slides into the GitHub repository so you can view them later.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to put this link again that I'm just sharing now is the GitHub repository, which she will update with those slides. We really appreciate you coming today. I think it's so important that you've been sharing with us that there are low-code solutions so that we all, no matter where we are in our dev journey, are able to start to use these kinds of tools for fairness and explainability, and make sure we maintain that transparency. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being here.
Have a good one, everyone. You can jump into your next sessions using the sessions bar on the left, and you will be able to find the agenda again from the little house reception link. Have a good one.